Good evening, Elizabeth Diamond here, your host on the Diamonds Forever 31 show here on the Diamonds Network. It's June 27th, I think, 2016. And if that's not right, somebody will correct me later. But let's see, tonight, we got lots of changes going on. You know, when it rains, it pours, either side of the world in your life. But lots of changes going on. We'll review some of those. I'm sure Candy has some. I have some. And today's reference, I do want to let you know, so for those who have shows during the week, tonight's reference number for the recorded line is 453. 453. So kind of figure out what number your reference is. Let them know at the beginning of the call so they can listen to it right after the call if they want. And, yeah, so let's see. Sorry, I have trouble with my chain of thought lately. I don't know why, but it's all good. It makes me really goofy. Okay. Tonight, all right, so I did ask, I've been thinking back the last couple of days for the first couple Rainbow Diamonds council meetings. And between the Galactics and us, and, you know, the words were between us, honor, respect, gratefulness, love, and all that good stuff. So I had a little talk with the Galactics tonight and asked them to send a spokesperson, one to Chris and one to Cynthia tonight. I want to do a little bit different, and I want to honor them at the beginning of the show after we give the news. And I just said, you know, you guys come in, give us an update or inspiration, whatever you want to do. So we'll do that right after the news, you know, really shortly. And then Cynthia will come. And we have Chris, too, tonight. And we miss you so much, Chris. And Cynthia, we love Cynthia. I'm telling you, every time Cynthia talks, it's like, what was the word? I thought of it today. See? Sorry, guys. It's like a fairy tale. It's like, oh, not candy. It was something else. It was something besides candy. I'll think of it later. But it's like candy. It's yummy stuff she brings in. So let me just say the law of one. And we just invite everybody, every being from any time dimension on Earth or in this universe, and known or unknown, understood or not understood, we invite you here into the circle as we pray the law of one. And if you don't know, you can continue to watch Diamonds and find out yourself. It's really good candy, too, I guess. So thank you all for coming, and we are all one. And when one is harmed or compromised, all are harmed or compromised. But when one is helped, all are helped. So therefore, in the name of who I am and we are, and I am and we are one with all that there is. And so we ask that only the highest good of all concerned happen for this show and other shows and all the shows in the wake-up world going on, and the people and all of us and all our circumstances, all our karma we're working through to go with the flow with the highest good of all concerned, wrapped in supreme happiness, maximum efficiency, minimum effort. And I so do verily declare it, victoriously declare it tonight. So be it, so it is, and thank you that this is done. We extend this to our galactic families that listen and come in and beyond, and to anybody else yearning for that. Thank you so much. So with that, Candy, why don't you come in? I know there's a lot of going on. The EU decided to walk away from what I call the big bad boy monopoly financial game. And the people voted, actually, and that's a good thing. And, well, you know, I've studied economists, and I do believe, and others are believing that, too. It's stated in Fulford's report that when the EU and over that way starts to fall, the financial thing, which it didn't they didn't wait for it to fall. They voted to go do something different, right? And they didn't have. That's one of the questions I want to ask. Did they have food shortages, and did they go through hell or half a hell before they got to wanting to vote out? Well, soon after that, then it comes over the United States of America, the financial system, because it's all like an octopus, all connected. 2 or 3 weeks after that, and somehow somebody's holding it up so it doesn't fall. And so now it's, I believe, USA turn and some other countries' turn to do something different. So I don't know how we're going to do that, and we'll see. But Candy, come in and do the news.
Okay, all right. This is
you're a little far away.
This is Candy with the Candy Shop News, and wow, a lot has happened.
Can you come up to the phone a little? Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm having some technical issues here.
There we go.
Okay. Sure. Oh, so opening the candy jar and pulling out some treats. Boy, it's been great to have some rain here in the Ozarks and cool things down. And I got to have a family party, barbecue, and around my new Walmart $200 swimming pool, and everybody came out, and there was no mosquitoes. It was so fabulous, no mosquitoes for a Saturday afternoon party in the countryside. Well, we just laughed and had a good time, and I just hope each of you are enjoying this summer and finding things to laugh about. And the biggest laugh was when my daughter, she was helping me barbecue the corn on the propane grill, and one piece slipped and landed in the gravel. Those are the kinds of things people laugh about. But listen, I'm glad to hear the laughter in our dear Elizabeth's voice. And this is the time of change, and I've had three amazing kind of letters that summarize things and kind of follow up from on June 18th, where Valiant Thor came and made the announcement to the world about Barack Obama and about General Dunford and what they're trying to do to establish the new republic under the true constitutional rights, and giving each one of us here. And I wanted to summarize. I have not been able to read the wonderful letter that our Rainbow Council lady sent me today, but in the first two letters, it was confirming that, as those long-time listeners know, that the Pope's higher self came to our conference call in September, as did the higher self of the Chinese premier, and briefly Barack Obama's. And when the Pope was here in September, around the fall equinox of 2015, then
Candy, I can't hear you. I think we lost you.
I think she might have dropped.
She may have to dial back in.
Okay, well, we're waiting for her to dial in. I know you guys, anybody else following the news with the financial thing, and I can't even remember now. There's a lot coming out, though, you guys. Just matches the energies, Cynthia, what you've been talking about.
I will tell you, today, Chiron stationed retrograde. That is gobbledygook to 99.99% of the people on the planet. But astrology and astronomy are the oldest sciences on the planet. And what this means is that the step-down transformer of healing the split between the lower self and the higher self just became very, very powerful, and it's going to start directing its energies toward our inner worlds. And the place that it's stationed, I'll go into this later because I think maybe Candy might be right back on, is the place of miracles from other planets. So I will leave you hanging in great anticipation. Candy, are you back on?
Yes, I finally got back on. should I pick up where I left off?
Absolutely, my sweet friend. I love you so much.
Okay, this is the third time tonight I've been jumped off. So, like I said, I'm having technical problems, and we are on the truth path, and some don't want the truth out. And so, what we found out in these letters from Marianne was that at the time of the fall equinox 2015, we were deep into the fourth dimension, going into the fifth dimension, and so there was a tape recording made by Barack Obama and Joe Biden, both of them resigning their positions as president and vice president. And I think it's so when the announcement for the full disclosure is made, they have these tape recordings that can be aired as part of the announcement if the transition team agrees that will be important as we move into the new republic. And I'm kind of summarizing what was in these letters so that later maybe Chris or the Galactics can comment on the accuracy of this. But we're getting a lot of people, confirming that General was present when these resignations were preferred, and that they did decide to go soft on it for a while, and that Paul Ryan, our Speaker of the House, the third constitutionally in line for presidency, agreed to be the interim president during this, somewhat kind of martial law situation, and that he didn't even agree to be Speaker of. As people know, the Pope had that private meeting with John, and then and he told him to resign. Now, I'm apparently the walk-in for the Pope is inspiring the Pope to destroy the black nobility and the Jesuits that's been controlling the Vatican and things. I'm not quite sure I understand the legalities and why it is that the Pope was over the United States of America Corporation, that he could basically order John Boehner out, get the resignations of Barack and Joe, and get Paul Ryan in to help us in this transition. It's so funny that they were saying that there was a big call for Paul Ryan to get into the campaign, even after Trump was almost the winner. And so, but of course, it wasn't time for Paul Ryan to say, hey, I'm already the president of the new republic. So it's just really great. They started this whole process Saturday, the 25th, about changing over and putting in a global gold-backed currency, that this global currency war started on September 11th, 2001, that was the day that the reset and the redemptions and things were supposed to be made, and instead they blew up the Twin Towers that had a lot of the gold and different things there. So this is the silent global currency war that started, according to these letters, on 9/11/01, and that the good guys won this past week, right after Valiant Thor announced on September 18th that with as I see it, the authority that we human beings on this Diamond Network call gave the extraterrestrials to work in our behalf as Americans and as human beings on the surface of this planet to go ahead and move forward with establishing the new republic, arresting everybody. And if you were watching the Sunday talking shows, you saw the prosecutors talk about all the high-ranking criminals that he has arrested, that he's penalized, and that he's in the process of investigating. So just as this letter said, and just as Valiant Thor said, and the Raw on the 18th. Indeed, these beings are being asked to repent, make amends, or they're being arrested, and so it is, and that it would happen publicly. And so this letter and what I saw on ABC News yesterday morning confirms these kinds of things from the show, our show on the 18th, and these letters that were dated like June 24th. And so we had the direct exit, and the stock markets crashed around the world. It continued crashing this weekend in Asia. The Bitcoins first crashed and then went up, and as people were pulling their money out of the stock market and putting it in Bitcoin and other more solid investments than the dollar and the pound. Everybody is so confused. And so the pound has lost 11% of its value. So American tourists are having fun in Britain right now. And so there's all these things going on. And for the holiday, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they are saying in this letter from Marianne that they're going to, at the end of business day in New York City on July 3rd, they are going to do the reset and change our currency to a gold-backed currency. We might have two levels. We might have one for international transactions and one for domestic transactions. That part hasn't been confirmed according to the letter. I'm very sorry. I didn't have time today to read the interesting report on Benjamin Fulford's post, benjaminfulford.com, but there it is, and maybe someone else knows what he is saying, because he and various... It's up on the blog.
It's up on the blog, Candy. You talked a lot about the details with the EU stepping, the people voting away from the monopoly money system and some other things. Yeah. So go to the Diamonds with an S Forever 31.blogspot.com.
Right. I went at 3:30 and it wasn't there, so I didn't have a chance to spend. So I'm glad it is up. People should go to the Diamond blog. Often Elizabeth puts inspiring and informational information there, and so I'm a little nervous that the universe has arranged that I'm supposed to be on this big trip, July 3rd and 4th and 5th, and I'm going to be in Ohio on July 5th. But I'm going to take cash. I'm going to take small denominations with me in case the ATMs are locked up. And I'm going to stay close to the news. Watch your television news. Watch for these announcements. Of course, I think that if they make the full disclosure, they'll just, televisions will turn on even if you've got them turned off. So I know Cynthia and some of our listeners don't have a television, but it's going to be a very exciting 4 weeks here, and I'm so excited to hear what the Galactics will say with Christopher Stephen Jacobs tonight, and so I hope Marianne will think I have summarized her letters, but it's very, very hopeful, and it's so exciting that we are going to have something for the people for a change, and I applaud the bravery of Paul Ryan and General Joseph Dunford, and do look them up on Wikipedia, learn more about them, and I think it's great that Valiant Thor and Barack agreed that he could be the walk-in and guide this process. And as we heard on the 18th, they Cabal put up a lot of clones of Barack who were not doing what Valiant Thor wanted them to do, but we gave them the power, I believe, and so those clones have been hampered. We also gave them the power the night we went and cleansed on the Candy Shop show, which is every Wednesday starting an hour later than this, the control of the grid and the computers around the world. So the Cabal cannot put down our electrical grid just to frighten us and establish martial law. And we know that they've been causing some of the earthquakes, but we know some of them Mother Earth has needed to release some pressure. So there's an awful lot of things going on. signs in the sky and things that we need to be aware of. And I think that they need to do this full disclosure and get things on a good footing before Mother Earth needs to do some more cleansing and helping us ascend into 5D. So, folks, I'm putting the lid back on the candy jar treats. You're getting a lot tonight as far as tidbits of hopeful, sweet treats about our future. It's going to be wonderful, isn't it, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Hey, Candy.
So thanks, Candy.
Candy, it's Elizabeth.
You are so welcome.
Yeah, go ahead, Marianne.
Yeah, I that was great. I just got on. I've been on just a few minutes, but what I
you
heard.
You reviewed your articles, yeah.
Yeah, the summary of the articles. You did a great job, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
One step at a time. And
yeah, and don't be worried on your trip, Candy. Go with the flow. I got to go with the flow. Everybody go with the flow, please. I'm serious. Don't even. Anyway, yeah, go with the flow. Stay on the flow.
Yeah, so I'm going to be in New York City on July 10th. So, keep holding me in the light, folks.
Okay. I do want to put a little bit, don't get mad at me, Candy, a little spin on, General Dumford, and was when Boehner was in, he was supposed to be the stand-in for the Republic. And, we kind of heard this dance before, but who knows, it might happen. But for me now, I've kind of changed my thinking now. If we have a change of presidency the way the intel is describing that Candy said, all of a sudden when people aren't awake or not even aware of the stuff that we know, it would be chaos to me. So to me, I think we need to have a lot more disclosure. And to me, you just can't change our money without telling anybody. The people need to vote. Okay, at least in Washington, the thing would come up Glass-Steagall, and they vote that in, which votes the Federal Reserve Bank out of there, and that changed. Or maybe we'll end up with the people vote, like the EU. I was thinking today, okay, the EU, the people voted to come out of the monopoly Federal Reserve money financial thing. They voted. What made them, what built them up to vote that way? What was going on there? Has anybody studied that? Did they have food shortages? Were their food prices going up? What was pushing them to say, okay, we're going to stand up and we're going to vote, and then they voted that way? So those are just my thoughts on that. So
Elizabeth, that's great. A little bit of feedback to those remarks. When I lived in Britain in '69, it was a white country. When I was there in '84, it was no longer, London was no longer a white person's city. What's pushed them is this force of them to get the so-called Muslim refugees, which were really ISIS soldiers in disguise, and forcing them to take
right.
tens of thousands of these so-called refugees. And we just hear all these horrible stories, like the story in Idaho where the 5-year-old girl was raped in the laundry by 3 8-year-old Muslim boys. It's just horrible, the rape culture, the disrespect for women, and I think this kind of pushed.
Okay, so that was good. That was in the mainstream news, and that woke up a lot of people and started them thinking different. Okay, wow, thanks for bringing that in. And I'm sure there's other things, too.
And now General Danforth is continuing to work with interim President Paul Ryan. Danforth is in charge of all the military and everything that the Pentagon is doing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of things going on. A lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of things going on in the background, but I'm not convinced now because I've heard the story over and over again, and there's a lot of disinfo. And I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just bringing this in so we can keep thinking, because we're always changing. We are always changing. Our thinking, your thinking won't be the same. I'm talking to the audience. Our thinking, even individually won't be the same a month later on the same subject that we're thinking of. But I do know, in collective consciousness, which we all are, we are creating a new world. So I just want to encourage everybody, it doesn't really matter how it's going to happen, but, you want to be the detective, like I do too, and you want to paint that picture before it happens, but we know it's happening. Everything's turning out for good, however we're creating it. It just seems odd to me if there's like a president change, most of the people won't know what's going on and they'll panic. So somehow there's got to be a different kind of way. I don't know. Who knows? We're creating it. We know it in our unconscious. Tell us.
Well, Paul Ryan was elected and then reaffirmed by all our representatives. And as Speaker of the House, he's third in line for the presidency. That obviously, if Barack and Joe can't be the president, then he is the president.
That's good. Thanks for clarifying that. That sounds plausible. So that's a plausible thing, yeah.
Yes, and of course, I think it's interesting that Joe has been out of the country this week in Ireland, and I think that Barack, they might actually have both of them out of the country. And if both of them out of the country, then obviously Paul is the president until they return. But during that time, while he's president, they might have the announcement over the television about that they had to establish martial law because, of course, they took over the Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve System is now in the hands of the good guys, and so and when you have all of these leaders that are criminals and are being arrested, then there has to be some kind of temporary martial law as we get everything sorted out and get honest people, in the different positions. Because there's a lot of evidence that Joe Biden is as big a criminal as Hillary Clinton.
Well, surely there is. In Benjamin Fulford's report, it says there's a revolution brewing here in the United States and another country. And it is, and I declare it's a love revolution. Although we'll get a lot accomplished, we'll get lots of different changes going on in this love revolution. It has to be something that will accumulate where people, thousands of people, stand up and just say the USA and stand together and say, put their hand up and say, no, we don't want it this way no more. Because when the masses come out, they have to, if there's even another little stronghold. So it's going to take both sides, the good guys infiltrated into the matrix and us, the people, and something's going to break. Who knows? I often thought of a worldwide one everybody knows about, 9/11. Maybe the 9/11 truth will come out. Maybe Clinton will get indicted because of the email thing, and then she won't be able to run for president. And who knows? But, yeah, but what you brought through, that may be a great setup for, the House Speaker and all that. I mean, that would be plausible for that to happen if all that happens.
Yes, and Elizabeth, you have, in retrospect, you'll find out what a great role that you played, that the Diamond Network played, and we are putting it out there in the consciousness. It's going through the ethers and the frequencies, and our love and Cynthia's wonderful visions of our future, and everybody being healed.
And Chris galactizing it, because that shows us we're all working on this together, even our galactics too.
So
yeah.
I feel like what we're doing tonight is reinforcing that when people see this disclosure videos, they're going to be calm about it. Because the galactics have helped take our calmness and spread it through the masses. So I think we have to remember these
big energies coming in are calming everybody. They're kind of like bringing us into neutrality. So when the big things happen, we're all going to be set. Every single person on this earth will be set at a tone, the highest good of all concerned for us. I mean, somebody might be set awake at a tone where the highest good of all concerned, and that happens, whatever, the big change happens, the switch comes on, and they freak out. But they need that experience to get to their destiny, to the other side, We all freaked out many times in our life, and that helped us grow. Yeah, thank you, Candy. And I look forward to the Galactics, hopefully sharing some of what they know of what's going on and reviewing kind of what we did when Chris comes on the galactizing part. That'd be great. And we'll put it all together, and we can take that, chew on the cud and keep chewing on it and just use it for chew on the cud, swallow it, and imagine it go into your emotions and make those emotions happy, just knowing that the changes are here and they're getting even stronger and bigger and faster and all that stuff, you guys. Glory.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That's the current events from Candy.
Thank you, dear.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Yeah, can I add one more thing here?
Sure.
Yeah. Did you guys read the article, press release, Paul Ryan, The Things We Stand Up For?
Maybe you could read like a excerpt of it, a paragraph or something, and then you can send it to me. I can blog it. Did you email it out?
Yeah. I'll just give
unless
you
it's short.
Yeah, I'll keep it. It's actually a visual I'm going to describe here. It says at the top, look who is acting like president. And it had the flag, but it's the old flag, which was supposedly the original one, where the stripes are going the opposite way. And then it had the emblem, the Republic of the United States of America, and it had the information, and I'll send it to you. But then you go to the bottom, and it had a picture of him at his desk with a notebook, and then it had, again, the emblem like a... it's a circle. It's the emblem on his desk, the Republic, what I just read, of the United States of America on his desk. So very symbolic, very visual pictures, powerful pictures here.
A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
Wow, signs and wonder, makes you wonder.
So
cool.
It's more prominent of what I just described about the flag and the emblem and the picture, in a sense, than the information. But I will send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that's
thank
all
you.
I have. Yeah.
That's great. I hope it happens. I mean, you've been hearing this year after year, and I'm not getting discouraged. I'm just thinking of other avenues or something like that. I don't know. And I'm not putting any of the intel down. I just want to just keep it in a balance and neutrality. It's not mostly the details we need to remember. It just helps your emotions build up and, alleviate the oppression and worry, go with the flow, be happy, and try to just feel those good emotions as much as you can, because Cynthia's been talking about that. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Now, if it's okay, Chris and Cynthia, I want to honor the two spokespeople galactics. I asked them amongst themselves to pick out a spokesperson, and whether it's for one group or many groups that they're going to come to, and I asked each of them to pick Cynthia or Chris, and one to each. And how about ladies go first, Chris? Is that okay?
Yes, that's okay.
Cynthia, you want to look in and see which galactic came to you?
Well, Chris, in other lifetimes, you were the lady and I was the guy, so, hey, it's my turn. Okay, let me go in.
She's sticking her tongue out at you, Chris. No.
Chris, I just love you so much.
Yes.
I just can't even tell you. I am so grateful for you. But anyway, let me go in and see what they're saying. Hold on. Wow. The problem I have is they come in pictures. And they also come in feelings. And my crown chakra, when I ask, is like burning up. It's like on fire. And so let me go in and see if I can interpret this. Woo! Okay.
So let me just inject the highest good of all concerned into her crown chakra and the fire.
Honey, don't interrupt me, please. I'm not as good as Chris. If you say anything, it breaks my focus. But I do appreciate that. Don't worry, I am so protected. It's off the scale. Okay, let me see if I can get back in. Hold on. Chris is much better at this. Hold on. Okay, this is what they're saying, and it's a chorus saying this. It's like many beings joining together as one saying this. When I'm hearing them speak, it's like hearing a crowd roar at a football game, but they're speaking in words, and they're saying. I'm just going to tell you what they're saying, okay? They're saying, our love for you is beyond words to describe. The power of our love is beyond words to describe. The closest you could come to it would be a nuclear explosion or a supernova. The power of our love. Okay, let me see the next batch of words. They're glad. They're telling me I did a good job. Boy, that just makes me feel good. Okay, let me see if I can get the next batch of words. Okay, because they're having to step down this energy into words. Okay, hold on. They're saying that inwardly. Now, inwardly has two meanings. One is inwardly on an individual basis, and the other meaning is inwardly as in secretly behind the scenes on a collective basis. The power of miracles from interplanetary spheres will unite people's physical incarnations with their own divine, immortal, Christed selves. And that you can bet your booties on it, it's a done deal. And they're saying it's because it's that time. It's like eggs when they're ready to hatch. It's very miraculous to see the eggs hatch, but it's all part of a cycle that has evolved over millions of years. And they're saying that what is happening here on the planet is kicking off a chain reaction of heaven manifesting in form. And the way that it is manifesting in form is through a radical detoxing of our desire natures, our mental natures, our emotional natures, and our physical natures. We're being detoxed. And they're saying if you get flu-like symptoms, it's related to the physical aspect of that, but they're saying that the emotional detox going on, that you're absolutely protected and you're making it through, even though some of the emotions coming up as they move up and out will be very radical. And let's see what else they're saying. Oh, they're thanking me again. They're saying I'm doing a good job. That just breaks my heart when they do that. I mean, in a good way. Let me see if there's anything else they want to say. They're actually saying that's all for now, and to turn it over to Chris.
Okay, well, Chris, our galactic Wising historian, come on in. Who do you have?
Well, it's another one of those. It's an intergalactic United Nations night. So let's see. I'll pick the first one that actually came through. Actually, this was before the show. He's been sitting here with me the entire time. Somebody who's never been on before. And this is leading up to, this is coinciding with what you just said, Cynthia.
Chris, he must have been, it's like, like if Walmart's having their Black Friday thing, people go in the middle of the night to get in line to be first. So that makes me cry. He wanted to come and be first to bring that message, because I actually asked him a couple days ago. So thank you for sharing that, Chris.
Yeah, and when I was sitting in the living room just prior to coming on the show, this being came in that I couldn't distinguish him as well, but my mother was able to see that he's kind of native looking. He's wearing beads and like I don't want to say loincloth. That sounds so cavemanish, but I'm just saying that that's what he's wearing, like almost like a skirt form of that, kind of like you'd see like Peruvian look, like a Peruvian native type look. And my mother said he called himself Bruni, and that, I was questioning him a little while I was sitting here, and she did too. And he said he's from a place called Marsala, and I asked everyone else what Marsala was, and they said it's a mountain range that exists in a different density on Saturn. And apparently they're in a different density. Saturn looks very much like Earth, and it doesn't have a poisonous atmosphere. So I know everything was kind of funneling in towards Saturn. A lot of past shows have kind of hinted at Saturn in some capacity. So it seems all roads are leading to Saturn. So this being Bruni, he looks native, like I said. He has like a darker pigment, or like a red pigment, like our Native American people would have. And let me see. And he came in with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other people. And another being, one of the beings that came in, he is a species that I've never seen before. Long skull, he has like a tan coloring to his skin. He looks short, but I could be seeing a psychic representation and not the actual being. I believe he's very tall in all actuality. And I asked him his name, and he says he has none, that he is one of many. And that name is more or less like a sound. So let me see. I'm going to see who wants to go first. Okay, Bruni wants to go first. Okay. Hang on, I'm going to get a drink before this one. Okay. Now, he may sound kind of strange because he speaks very broken. Bruni does. So, and this is going to lead into, one I did not mention is a woman I've seen for quite some time. Her name is Deidre, and she is a representative of the Council of Saturn. This is a group that has never come through on this show, and they very rarely speak to anybody. So this should be interesting tonight. So here's Bruni, and then we'll go into whoever else wants to talk after him. Give him a minute. He's trying to couple with my energy. Okay, there we go. Greetings to the people listening. My name, as this one has stated, is Bruni, and I am a tribe known as Masala. We are named of the mountains. You would call them singing stones of the place you call Saturn. We are of 9th density, and we have traveled to Earth in the past and have been represented in many of your ancient cultures. We have been represented in Peruvian, Mayan, and Aztec cultures, along with your native peoples who carry some of our genome. We also know they carry the genome of Pleiadian and Lemurian. We are of that particular, as you say, triad. We are one with the singing stones of Saturn. We sing in the tones and the pitches of these stones, along with the ancient council of this place you know of as Saturn. This one knows it as Tos, a word of our creation. We are a tribe of many and few. We are not led, and we do not lead. We are as above, so below, as you humans would say. Though we look human, our genome is slightly different than your own. We have a 12-stranded DNA infrastructure, as you would say. Our 12 strands are indicative of 12 waves of thought patterns that bring through in the sounds and the pitches, in the silence of space and time. My friends here are of this place, but yet not of this place. We rarely speak to humankind in the present because of the situations that are on your world. We have sent the energy of the singing stones to your world. They are encompassed in certain areas known to you as waypoints on a map, such as ley lines and sacred spaces that are unseen by human eyes. These spaces, unseen, can be seen once they hit the wavelength of the sacredness of the oneness. This is not cryptic as some would think. The spherical thinking as you know it to be is required to sense the singing stones. Some believe they are just of Agartha. This is not true. The singing stones take the shape of whatever is needed for them to be shown to a person or grouping. These can be anything and everything. These stones are not visible even to those in the area you know as the backstage. These stones would look like great monoliths, or they would look like a grain of sand. These stones hold no shape, but they hold the essence of all things, such as the mountains, the trees, the water, and every living being. Though the stone's original form were that of stone, they helped terraform your world into what it is today, minus the zone barriers, that is, which are slowly being acclimated to the current time continuum, of which they are not accustomed to. This is why the equipment is breaking down, as Michael would have said. We are the Masala, and we are in servitude, not just of self, but of others, in balance, and in light, and in song, and in shadow. I say shadow because I mean that of camouflage of our people. Saturn is not the planet you think that it is. It is more or less like your world than you believe that it is. The Council of Saturn does not speak to many. This is why I and dearest Deidre have come through this evening. Pardon my elongated words. My density is such to where if I were loud enough, I could shatter the nervous system of this one and any within earshot. Therefore, this is a whisper to my laughter, to my song, to my breath. This is what I have come to say. However, I do bless those that listen to this calling. The calling I am speaking of is that of service, to balance itself, meaning both to self and to others. You cannot have one without the other. Thank you. Okay, let's see here.
I'm honored. I just want to thank that being. Thank you, my friend.
And he's stepping back now. He's sitting on the floor actually. And it is now Deidre that wants to come through. I've encountered her several times, and apparently in the past I've actually seen this person. I'll give a quick backstory before I let her through. And she's saying, okay, fine. So This person I've actually laid physical eyes on. This was in Arizona. I did not know this was this person until a few days ago. But I will say that when I went to Arizona, well, this is when I first went to, it was in the Mesa area, Mesa, Tempe, Phoenix area. I went to a restaurant with my father, and there was a waitress there that looked different than everybody else. And then came up to me and my father, and I noticed the eyes were very different than any other person. The eyes were like a very deep blue, but had little flicks of purple and lavender in them, and the eyes were a little bit bigger than normal. And her hair was covering her ears, but I probably would have seen Syrian traits. She's part Syrian, part Pleiadian. And my father and I talked to her for a little bit, and then we left. But after we left, before we left, I remember being in this entranced-like state, and passing into what felt like a different dimensional layer. And when I came back out of it, I had this I don't want to call it green material on me, but it was like what people have reported seeing in rooms where interdimensional beings have come and gone. Some people call it ectoplasm, but that's very Ghostbusters. So I just say that it's just like a green byproduct of dimensional travel for humans. I don't know if it comes out of humans or if it comes out of the dimensional rifts themselves, but it's a byproduct of certain dimensional travel for humans, at least.
Like glitter.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, but it's like a goo, but it's weird. It kind of has the consistency of like hand sanitizer, but that's about all I know about that. But now she's actually kind of chomping at the bit to come through here. She says enough backstory. She wants to come through. Okay, any second here. And I'll let her through. Let her get acclimated. Okay, there we go. Greetings. My name is Dedra of the Council of Saturn. I represent the Council of the Infinite. I call them the Infinite because they share not a name with anything, but they share a name with everything, if that makes sense to anyone. Their name is vast and also very recognizable. Their name has been, as you humans say, dumbed down to that of the Saturn Council, but it is far more reaching than you think. They monitor traffic in and out of this system, though the Cabal thinks that they monitor traffic in and out of this system. They do not. Somebody needs to be muted, please. The traffic in and out of this system consists of far many more ships and people than humans will ever know was possible. The system is much larger than your scientists will ever attest to, just very much like your Earth is much larger than your scientists will ever attest to without proof. This system actually consists of many more planets and many more people than you will ever know, at least in this age. But I can honestly say this: the Council of Saturn watches over the many that come and go, not to just make sure that they create as well as love, but to make sure that too much is not given at any one time. What I mean by this is, energy alone is a good thing. However, in the instance of, say, any sort of one emotion, let's just put it this way, if that were to override all of your senses and every little nerve ending of yours could feel that one emotion, this may have a temporary good effect, but at the point where your human genome currently stands, this would destabilize the fewer strands that you have at this point in time, though they continue to grow and grow. This feeling that you would feel at such a heightened state would not be able to be maintained for an entire lifetime. Balance would tip, and these DNA strands would then fall by the wayside, collapsing your genome. So, in the instances of, let's say, a human and an alien, let's say, have a distance of a relationship or an energy bonding, this bonding will never go away. However, if the two should meet in person, say Syrian and human, for instance, the energy resonance would be too incompatible, though not detected by either one of them. This incompatibility would destroy the lesser strands. Not to say that one person is lesser than the other. Quite the opposite. Everyone is one. Everyone is equal. However, if you were to say want to learn something that is far above your, as humans say, pay grade, but you have not read the previous chapters to get to that ending of a much larger book, then the end of the book would not make sense, though it seems like it makes sense at the time, given the one emotional state that has been tapped into for so very, very long. This is something that humans are only beginning to grasp, yet beings such as myself and the Syrian star beings and the Council of Saturn have experienced it for far longer. This is not to brag. This is not where I am going with this. I am just saying that at this point in your histories, certain compatibilities are mostly impossible, except at a distance or very brief physical contact. This also radiates with this one as well as many, many others out there in the cosmos. However, there is a gleam of hope. There are intermediaries that are selected and have been selected long before they ever took their human form to fill these voids, to fill the void given by the genetic resonance of these beings that have a much larger soul resonance than this one will ever know and ever ponder of. This genetic resonance applies to that particular human in what this one knows as a triad, which is far more reaching and far more vast than he'll ever know thus far. This particular resonance is the same throughout the intermediaries. There can be multiple ones. There can be of multiple ages, sizes, colors, and shapes. This does not matter, given the fact that we are all one. However, on your world, you have a set of, as you would say, parameters that are akin more to programming. As the rock group said, lastly, age makes no difference in that of this resonance signature and or frequency. The intermediaries were sent in to the illusion to not only be teachers amongst the people, but to also find the other partners of said resonance and generate a new resonance frequency that could thusly be absorbed by all other humans. Many humans have this capability. In fact, all humans have this capability. However, there were representatives elected, as you would say, to carry out these tasks. Such representatives you would know on this show as changers. This changer agent, as you would also call them, has been given the task of such frequency changes through whatever means can be found within the constructs of your laws, within the constructs of your societal acceptance, within the constructs of your linear time restraints, and within the constructs of your consciousness at your point in your evolution and your genetic resonance frequency. This is not something that this one currently knows of, so I will tread lightly. Not to say that he is not ready for this, but there are some subjects that are more touchy than others. However, I will say this: any frequency that matches that of the other is perfectly acceptable, meaning soul genetic resonance frequencies can exist in many multiple, as you would know, as walk-ins. These walk-ins are the same as we have just aforementioned. It is just a difference in terminology and a difference in vernacular. But I digress. One of the things that I wished to address on the show this evening is this, other than what I had just said. There is a growing concern for all things, as you humans would say, karmic. This is an issue that the Council of Saturn and myself have wanted to address for quite some time. The concept you know of as karma does not exist. What I mean by it does not exist is I do not mean that there are no consequences to actions. Quite the opposite, in fact. However, the repeat cycle that you humans have been thrust into, which you know of as reincarnation, is a partial fallacy. And we do not wish to say that reincarnation is not real. Quite the opposite, in fact. However, the original construct that the universe came up with is this: the punishment must fit the crime, as you humans would say. Not to say that a gavel would be cracked down on anybody in an energy sense. This is not what I'm saying at all. Say, in a past life, you have a thief which steals a loaf of bread, then in the next life suffers at the hands of a tyrant and is thusly executed for no apparent reason whatsoever. This punishment is not befitting the crime. This is what I wish to say. Some out there, and you know who you are, would say the wash, rinse, and repeat cycle. This is something that was induced by entities that did not have Earth's best interest at heart. This cycle would be known as the soul trap, though this one has discovered multiple soul prisons, such as Helg, Hathagar, and the like, and others more recently discovered within Earth's orbit and within different zones and density layers. There are quite a few more in your system. None surround Saturn, none surround Venus, none surround Mars, and none surround your moon. However, there is a shadow which looms on the side of your world, thusly, that would look from the untrained eye to be a falling star. This falling star is anything but. It is not anything positive. This is not to say that other things are not positive, like fairies and the like. This is not what I am saying. This thing is only visible to eyes that have the ability to see. This is something that was never meant to be seen by your race. We barely even distinguish its presence. This sight is abhorrent to us, and we will address this thusly. There were beings in your system that you know of as the harvesters that set up these soul prisons many, many eons ago, along with the help of other races that fell into their employ, as you would say. These intersect many multiple dimensional aspects of your multiverse. They are not just indicative to one universe. Though Helg has been destroyed in your universal construct, there are at least 11 others that exist within the breadth of the multiverse in the same spot in which it orbited around Neptune. I am not asking that each of these be destroyed in tandem or anything of that nature. I am just pointing out that your system of wash, rinse, and repeat is a construct of these artificial induced prisons. Though this seems negative in nature, I assure you that there will be a positive outcome coming from this. This saddens me to say that these things exist because people have preconceived notions of what they believe the afterlife is. And I am not saying that they are false, quite the opposite. However, there are certain distinctions between that of which you know and which is unseen. An example of this would be, as I said before, with the loaf of bread and the execution. This is a clear violation of nature's laws. The karma, as you know it to be, would never have left the lifetime in which the affliction occurred. It would always be swift and immediate. The person stealing the loaf of bread, if it was not for a noble purpose, would have instantly had their pocket picked and wondered why they had nothing to show for the bread stolen. This system is slowly being re-implemented upon the earth. This is why karma seems to be swift and quick. This is the true meaning of the concept. Not judgment, but universal waves of energy that flow in and out of your consciousness like a breath. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, said your Isaac Newton. He could not have been more profound with those words, because for each breath there is an opposite reaction, such as the breath going out and pushing against the air, which then pushes back at you. This can be seen in all things on your world and in creation. These are what you know of as physics, quantum physics, and other quantum realities and high-level mathematics, of which this one does not even begin to know about. We are not saying anyone is dumb, quite the opposite. This is a level of which humans are not ready to perceive yet. That is all. So I am saying in closing, before I send this off to the Council of Saturn themselves, is that with every perceived reality, there are at least a dozen more that you cannot perceive, no matter which density you are in, and no matter how high up in frequency you are. There are at least a dozen different realities that are imperceivable to your eye. This is not a matter of fault. This is a matter of physics. Thank you.
Wow, there's a lot there in both those messages.
Oh, yeah.
You want to say anything in your own words, those two messages?
I would like, this is Candy, I would like to say that there's been a hint there that the Diamond Group needs to help the situation at Neptune, not to try to clear everything out in tandem, but we do need to send some energy, apparently, to do some healing there around Neptune.
Yes, I did. I got rid of the Held prison, but what she was saying in multiverse realities, different parallel universes, just because one was taken out doesn't mean that there are several other universes that don't have it. My mother has said this before too. And he's like, "Oh, you probably took one out of like thousands," and she was right. There are many more. I could, as Deidre was talking, I could sense several more of them, and I did find. I did find in a reading the other day, and I do have this posted on my YouTube. It's called "To the Last Breath." That there was a shadow. It seemed like a shadow version of Earth orbiting, and it was the size of a planetoid, and it was another one of these soul prisons that was causing this wash, rinse, and repeat cycle where people just go into this. If it's not one thing, it's another cycle. And so a lot of people will understand this when I say this. But yeah, that's basically what she was getting at. This is a pre-programmed negative paradigm that was put in our way. I mean, we learn from it, of course. There's not like something positive doesn't come out of it. It's just that there's an excessiveness to it. There's an oppressiveness to it that goes far and beyond the learning process, and that's what Deidre was getting at a moment ago.
So we're just going to expand the law of one that we prayed tonight into any of the concerns that Deidre was explaining into anything, any detail, known or unknown, understood or not understood. We just give the highest good of all concerned infusion into all of those concerns. And that's great. So be it. So it is. Thank you that this is done.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Hi, it's Marianne. Thank you. Thank you so much. Either Deidre or the council can answer this, and it's a very simple question in a sense.
Okay.
I see pictures and I'm trying to formulate it, and but my question is that certain unlockings or certain releases here, and also eventually through the breakthrough of the event, but just the little by little of the releases here. Does that affect the prison planet nearby, and also the different 12 dimensions or the other dimensions that are on? I mean, can one, and I'm assuming possibly this is true, one breakthrough can affect the whole chain and release many of these at once.
Yeah, she's coming through the answer to this one. Yes, my dear, this is actually most true. When you release these energies, they can send a cascade effect to other lesser of the prisons, sending off as this one would say, firecracker effect. But there are other releases needed by the rest of humanity that would release the much larger of these spherical-shaped prisons. They looked more like atoms, as you would call them. But yes, like the cells in a much larger body, these could be cured very much like a disease or virus would act upon a body by implementing what we have discussed earlier with the genetic resonance frequency and this law of one, as you say, and raising the vibration of your entire world. This would unhinge these prisons and they would thusly disintegrate, sending the remaining soul shards back down on your world, like an egg cracking open and sending the yolk down into the atmosphere. This has happened multitude of times, but they cannot all go until enough of these changers that I have specified before come forward with their higher frequency and unleash it upon the chain of these soul prisons. This is how this will be defeated. However, the harvesters invented them to go contrary to whatever thought the people would have. This is why they designed it this way, so that more negativity would hold them in place. But in that contrary that I just spoke of must have a higher resonance. Therefore, if you, to coin a phrase, ascend beyond its capability of holding you, then it renders it inert.
Understood.
Thank you. And then I just want to expand the law of one to all of anybody listening and listens to the show, and all human beings and people on Earth. Soul traps. We want to set all of our soul traps to the highest good of all concerned. So, for instance, like Chris, I'll do one example. Oh, for many, many years, I would have a vehicle, and of course it would break down when I was a single mom, and break down, and it'd be like $900, $1,000 bill all at once, a single mom raising kids, right? And for 3 or 4, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years now, that hasn't happened, but it's happened a lot through my life. Now, just recently, yesterday, my car broke down, and even when they were doing a tune-up, which was $500, they did a test drive, and the brake line broke when they test drived it, and plus the tune-up didn't fix the problem. It's a clogged Cadillac converter, which is another $900, which I already owe $800 and plus another. Anyway, what I'm saying is there's that pattern. So just today I prayed the highest good of all concerned over that situation, and I just thought it was odd. I haven't had that kind of repeat cycle in a long time in that area. So I guess I was sensing, at least I prayed the highest good of all concerned. That must be a soul trap for me that I'm coming out of. I mean, that would be the best thing to do, is pray the highest good of all concerned, which we already did for all our soul traps. Would you say that's a soul trap and I did the right thing?
Oh yes, most definitely. You did do the right thing. This, if it rains and pours, it pours attitude that people have is what reinforces these soul traps, but doing its contrary will release people from these interlocking spheres that are made up of entirely soul shards that have been blackened with the passage of what you know of as time. But when released, they return to their luminescent blues and purples and re-enter the earth illusion, making the illusion that much weaker and making your constitution that much stronger.
Well, thank you for that, and you reminded me of one other important thing I did, so you guys keep this in mind, the law of one. And the other important thing is I just had to work on, my emotions and tuning them back into just go with the flow, stay neutral. No, try not to fight it. Just stay neutral, go with the flow. Highest good of all. There's nothing else you can do except the only thing it'll do is worry. And worry is like a rocking chair. You can rock and rock and rock all day long, and you don't get nowhere.
Okay, so Mayor, I just wanted to thank Deidre. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much for coming, and Bruni and the council. We're so grateful for your love for us, and I just want to thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Chris, and Cynthia and Chris, I don't know if Cynthia wants to bring her stuff in, or you want to finish up completely, Chris, or should we take a break and have Cynthia? And I wanted Cynthia to look up Saturn. Where's Saturn today? What angel's Saturn? That I just thought of that.
The council's coming through.
Huh?
Saturn Council is coming through.
Yeah. What is the angel? What is if Cynthia or somebody could look up where Saturn is, or is it retrograded? What it means, and we can review that later.
I can tell you right now.
Now, the Saturn Council wants to come through, right?
Yeah, just
go ahead.
We'll do that. Then we can look that up after.
Yes.
Okay. I'll see this man that's been, I think he's sitting on the floor. I guess it's just my visual perception of what he looks like and how big or small he is. I believe he would describe it as my perception of him is not, as it seems, like what Deidre was saying a little bit ago and what Bruni was saying too. So I'll have... Okay, this should be interesting. He's representing the entirety of the group. So I don't know how many people are in this group. So this should be very similar to the Ra when they come through. So let me get a drink here real quick. Let me see. Okay, this is a very powerful energy. and very strange energy to bring in. But I will let this man speak. I'm kind of drifting into him. He's kind of drifting into me as I'm talking. And from my ears, it sounds like my voice is reverbing. So I'm going to let him come in. And okay, there we go. Greetings. We are, as you know us to be, the Council of Saturn. We did not choose this name. Our name as a whole is the name this one knows as Tos, or the tone in your language. The Tos, or the tone, is what shattered the ice fields which used to contain beings you knew of as the frost giants in your Norse mythology, as Odin once told you on these shows. These are the ice rings that surround our world. Though they have harvested nanites within them, they have been rendered harmless by the other entities that occupy your system and ourselves. We are the council that oversees all in the infinite layers that enter your system, the densities therein, the traffic that comes and goes. We have seen this system from the outside, from the great eye of the universe, and have seen out into the universe to witness the great eye. We are one with the infinite of all things. We are of a voice, a singular voice. Our density, as Bruni has said, is that of the 9th density. This is true. Our individual names of Tos have been lost to the centuries because of our intertwining of energies, meeting together as one. What you would call us a collective voice, or conscious and unconscious reality. If you came to Saturn right now to see us, you would not see us as such. You would just see the planet on which occupies this system currently. You would see Tos as a gaseous planet, uninhabitable by most. However, in the density in which we occupy, we see the planet very much as Earth. You would see where we come from as the far distant future. However, we do not see things in the constructs of your time and temporal mechanics. However, the time construct that you are accustomed to would place us past the year 350,000 years from your current state of being. This is within 9th density. However, if you view it outside of the current space-time in a more spherical construct, we exist in the present day with yourselves. I know this is a difficult concept for humans to understand. We understand this because we were once at that state. We were once in a completely corporealistic state, coinciding with many other races that were very much like yourselves now. These races eventually became some of the races that come and go out of the system in the different densities. These other races have come through on the show many a time and have presented themselves in the 8th through 10th and through 12th densities and beyond. These races once shared the reality with us at the edge of what you would know as a great sun. These densities exist in what you know of as 1 through 25. These densities are not as you humans think them to be. The Syrian star beings have said them as being the X, the Y, and the Z axis, them being dimensions versus densities and parallel universes. This is more of a, as you say, layman understanding or rudimentary translation to this effect. This effect goes far and beyond what you humans perceive as linear, as grid, or as even spherical. This goes into all things and all people and all animals and all thought patterns and all planets. Even plants resonate these frequencies and these densities. Technically, all of these densities are existing all at once on your world. These densities, the ones you call fourth and fifth and sixth density and beyond, are right there waiting for you. All you have to do is rise to the occasion. What we mean is, in order to see us, you must see yourselves as already being one with all things and being one with the density that you currently are, which is fourth at the moment. Though all exist as one, you must live in your present moment, or as this one knows the term, dimensional standard, meaning, translated into your language, is meaning in the moment. So when you exist in the moment is the only existing time frame. All others fall away. There is no past. There is no future. There is only now. All exist as now. All exist as one. Though we are our physical corporeal selves are of ninth density, our souls are far much more reaching into the vastness of your cosmos and beyond. And yes, beyond the known parallel universes and spherical realities, there are other spherical realities that exist within a much larger omniverse. This one has only seen one such omniverse. The omniverse has a multitude of brethren, as you would say, of all different shapes, colors, and sizes. This would be the super omniverse, you humans would classify it as. The omniverse of all of your parallel universes and the dimensions and such is one drop in a vast ocean, which is what I have just stated is the super omniverse. And beyond, it spans into infinitum, into nothing and into everything. No human in this lifetime will reach that far physically, I am sad to say. However, with your mind and with your soul and your heart, you can reach anywhere. The pineal gland that you are given can only reach so far. Your chest cavity, known as the heart chakra, has far greater power than the pineal gland itself. So if you channel the heart chakra's capabilities through your pineal gland, then you will be able to perceive the super omniverse for what it is and the beings that exist in between. But before that can happen, however, the things that were just described to you moments ago will have to occur, always living in the moment, regardless of soul trap, regardless of the cabal's meddlings, regardless of what you see on your television, regardless of what play acting is going on in the background, regardless of the day-to-day drama, regardless of what you come across in your day-to-day, be it positive or negative. The moment must always be there. This is what we have come to say this evening, but I must end it with this. You are all cherished children of Saturn, or Tos. May the light of Tos and its many virtual and not so virtual realities shine upon the grid that is the Earth Mother and her children, and our brethren, the Aethelum, that watch over the Earth illusion and wait for a time where both of our sets of children can wake and see us for who we truly are. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, our galactics that came here tonight. Thank you so much. And we're not just getting started. So which way do you guys want to go, Chris or Cynthia? Do you want to keep going until we're done with galactizing, or do you want to bring Cynthia in?
I would like to talk about Saturn.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, they've stepped back for the moment. So, yeah.
By the way, every word you said was pure nectar, and I thank you. You beings who have come through, Chris. And it's interesting because Chris and I, in our astrology, fortunately I have my chart and his chart, we have a major point at the place where Saturn is right now and has been and will be for a while. And Saturn is at the place of, I'm just going to tell you the way it is, and I'm not making it up, high magic.
Wow. I like it. Yeah.
Yep. And I've been meeting more people with high magic, which is 12 degrees Sagittarius. Have been coming here. The tribes are gathering, where our spiritual families are gathering. And what was just spoken through Chris was about being in the now. And I cannot emphasize that more strongly. Eckhart Tolle was a big teacher about being in the now. Whatever traumas have happened in the past, whatever wonderful things have happened in the past, whatever mediocre things have happened in the past, okay, fine, they happened. We learn through them all. We learn through the bad times. We learn through the good times. We learn through the boring, monotonous, everyday times. We learned. But the place of magic is in the now moment. And the thing about Saturn in the ancient sciences is that it represents our skeleton. In other words, it's the framework upon which everything else hangs. I learned from a scientist recently that on a molecular level, we are 99% water. And okay, so we're walking oceans. But Saturn represents the bones that hold all the organs and the skin and the blood and the lymph system together. It's the framework. And the framework right now is retrograde, which means this is all being done behind the scenes, this high magic. Whether the high magic is being done individually, collectively, inside of us, it's being done inwardly or collectively. It's being done behind the scenes. And I'm just going to tell you the framework upon which high magic works. Number one, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. The first step is the ability to go into deep meditation and to look at anything, whatever it is, your family, you, the world, anything that's on your mind, another person, your child, your father, whatever. To go into deep meditation and see what caused the state of being of whatever it is you're focusing on, whether you're focusing on yourself, whether you're focusing on your child, whether you're focusing on your husband or soon-to-be ex-husband or soon-to-be your husband. I mean, it's focusing on the world, focusing on the universe, whatever you're focusing on, whatever it is, to be able to go into deep meditation and see what caused it. And then, having seen what caused it, whatever it is, to change the causes. To change the causes. And I highly recommend that you do this, and that the change you make to the causes are the law of one. that you say whatever you are becoming, wherever you came from, whatever your purpose is, that you do that, but you do it according to the highest good of all. Now, when you do that, you'll feel or sense or see the ongoing effects of the changes that you just made. That's the first step. The second step,
Cynthia?
is, yes.
Let me just add an example, because with the car thing and the breaking down and so much money, the root of that is, and it's for a lot of people, of which I pray the highest good of all concerned, is like you try to save up money, and you get to get ahead or take a trip or take a little vacation, and something happens and the money bags have a hole in it. So use that example. That's big for everybody, for this magic she's describing.
Okay, you take that situation. That's an excellent example. You look at this pattern and you say to yourself, what caused this? What are the causes of this pattern that, fortunately, I've had some grace and mercy, so it hadn't happened for a little while, but now here it is again, and it's happened before. And it requires, Elizabeth, going into a relaxed and deep state of meditation and asking. You ask, knocking it shall be opened unto you, asking you to receive. Ask, what has caused this? And it may require being very still, very quiet, very receptive for a while. Now, people are all different. You may get an answer within 5 minutes. It may take weeks. For me, it takes weeks, sometimes months and years. I know that sounds ridiculous because when I get on the call and I go within, I get immediate results. But on a personal level, dealing with my own stuff, quote unquote, sometimes it takes a very, very long time. But at any event, I do get the answers. I can see what caused whatever it is. So you see the causes. It could be the sins of the fathers are passed down even unto 7 generations, as the Bible say. It could be a poverty consciousness that's been passed down verbally or non-verbally from parent to child. It could be shock. Maybe some of your ancestors were in wars or famines, where they went into shock and it was passed down from father to child, from child grows up, has kids, passed down again. But just you'll see the causes. And at that point, when you see what the causes are, you change them. Now you might ask, well, how on earth do I change things that happened to other people a long time ago? Exactly what Chris just said through the guy that came through him. Time is malleable. Depending on your state of evolution, it appears differently. And I'm here to tell you from deep, long experience through many lifetimes, intent rules the day. If you intend, if you will, to change your whole ancestry back thousands of generations on many planets, your whole ancestral tree, which could be thousands and thousands and thousands of people if you go back far enough, if you intend to do it, guess what? That's the key. You intend it. You have to have the concept, you have the intention, and then you visualize it. However you visualize. There's no two people alike. It can be a very general visualization of your whole ancestral tree going back into infinity, where the law of one, the highest good of all, like a bowling ball knocking down all the pins just suddenly goes back through all time, all space, to all beings, and implements the highest good of all. Now the mind will be boggled, and that's what this being that came through Chris said. The heart is much more advanced than the pineal gland. The pineal gland works with visual images. And you guys who are lucky enough to have beards, please grow them. It's part of your nervous system. It will enhance the energy from your pineal gland getting down to your heart. Get a clue. Stop buying into the media and to the dark agenda programming. Go with nature. But I regress. You've asked to see the causes of this repeating pattern, Elizabeth. And it may come in as a general feeling. It may come in as visual images. It could come in as thoughts. We're all different. It could come in as just a sensation. But when it comes in, you thank it. You thank it because so much has been learned, a lot of experience gained, a lot of people. I assure you that when all your ancestors died and went to the other side, they reaped a lot of soul knowledge, whether or not they did this or that. So you thank it, you praise, respect, thank, and love it. Bible says give thanks for all things work for good. When you do that, when you give thanks, you break down any resistance to what you do next. And the next thing to do, this is my recommendation, it's what I do, it's worked very well. It's what the masters do, from what I've been told, what I've seen, what I've experienced. You do the law of one. Now, just yesterday, a very highly evolved being and very young, in the lower 20s, contacted me. And this being had been in a horrific childhood, was experiencing intrusive psychic phenomena of a negative kind, but very highly evolved. And I said, okay, here's the law of one. Memorize it and use it. Now, this being, when I repeated the lines, the first line was, we're all one, got it. Second line was, when one is harmed, all are harmed, got it. Next one was, when one is helped, all are helped, got it. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, got it. I ask that the highest good of all happen. He left out only, and he left out all concerned. And instead of correcting him, my higher self came in and said, listen, he's a great master. This is more accurate. So I wanted to share that tonight. When you do the law of one, the sentence, I ask that the highest good of all happen. You can leave out only and all concerned if you feel so guided. It's a more direct activation of the DNA. I ask that the highest good of all concern happen. And I give thanks if this is done, so be it. Anyway, if you feel better with the other version, fine. But this is sort of a more advanced version from what I've been told yesterday by this being and by my own higher self.
Say the differences again.
Okay. The one line that changes is, I ask that the highest good of all happen. You leave out only. In the past we were saying, I ask that only the highest good. You say, I ask that the highest good. You leave out only, happen, and you leave out all concerned.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Only almost sounds like a rebellion,
like you
or a
doubt
war
it.
word.
Like you doubt it. It's like, other things could happen. There's like
I ask that the highest
good of all happen.
All happen.
Yeah.
I asked that the highest good
upgrade.
of all happen.
We've had a software upgrade here.
Great.
And you do that through intent. And what Mir and I have been experiencing, we've been in many discussions about this, and she's been brought to it and I've been brought to it, is to ask for off-the-scale radical faith in the goodness of divine being, both in its unmanifest and manifest state. In other words, that's a fancy way of putting it. We are stepping off the cliff on faith. In other words, instead of being held hostage by, oh, I'm worried, I'm afraid, oh, well, in the past this happened. No. We are jumping off the cliff, which is the Fool card in the Tarot, where the young man steps off the cliff. It's the highest card, on faith. It's spoken of in the Bible, it's spoken of in the Upanishads, it's spoken of in the Rig Vedas, and all the great teachings. It's the faith of a grain of mustard seed. With faith, all things are possible. And we have asked for, and there's been some miracles that have happened to us this week. Hopefully it's happened to all of us. I think it has, judging from events out there, where we are standing on the rock, not of fear, not of conditioning, but the rock of faith. Unreasonable, insane, you've got to be crazy, you've got to be a blooming idiot faith. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And you know what? I stand by it, and if I go down, fine. But I am standing on the rock of faith, of almighty faith. Yes, I am standing on that rock. And when you see the causes, or sense the causes, or feel the causes of whatever you're concerned with, and through intent, and through standing on the rock of almighty, crazy, insane, you've got to be a full faith, which is the highest card in the Tarot. And you say the law of one, it changes the outcome. We're talking high magic here. Very high magic. The next step is grace and mercy. You have just done the law of one. You have changed the fate of whatever your concern is. And because of that, grace and mercy, the downpouring of divine light, abundance, spontaneous remission is let loose like a flood upon reality, upon the quantum field. You change fate. And the third one is that the original divine wisdom, the original purity and clarity of all ideas in the divine mind, not the mind we were taught in school, not the mind of some demigods that came down from another planet 13 centuries ago, intent on mayhem. No, I'm talking about the original purity of all ideas in divine mind are activated. And all imperfection on every level is released for transformation. And the next level is that all the splendor and majesty of divine being manifest, and it results in youthening and vitality and immortality. And the last step is complete understanding and mastery of cause and effect. We no longer shoot ourselves in the foot. we no longer get taken in and spend our lives in misery and slavery wondering why we don't feel good.
Yeah.
And that's where Saturn is.
Glory, that's great. And we had 2 councils come in. We're getting, diamonds are getting around in the universe and beyond. Thank you. Should we let Chris finish up and
please,
then we'll,
yes,
I want to do the astrology. Yes. Thank you so much. That's great so far.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I want to say before you go, Cynthia, I think Deidre, what do you think at the beginning of Deidre's talking about the energies, and I think she was talking about twin flames and soulmates.
Yeah.
And so that's my question. I don't know if I'm on the right track or not, or tell the blue. So Saturn is retrograde, and what is it called when it turns the other way?
Direct.
Okay, so when does Saturn turn direct? I'm just curious.
Just let me look here. I've got it written down. It's pretty close at hand.
Because those energies are inside of us now, but when it turns direct, then it will be seen.
Okay, Saturn turns direct August the 13th.
Okay, good to know. Just put it in my file.
Just a matter of weeks. And the thing about twin flames is, in this system, we're designed to have our mates. We're designed to experience sexual ecstasy on 7 levels, our 7 chakras. And we're going to talk about that next Monday.
Yeah, I can't wait. So it's all in syncing up. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things you can do if you have time and the inclination and it feels right to you is, if you're not in an ecstatic soulmate relationship, to ask to see the causes behind the situation, whether you're single or you're in a relationship that's highly frustrating or not. Just ask to see the causes.
And then pray the highest good of all concerned.
Yes.
Because we're energy, we're vibration.
Yes.
And you need to have your vibration up to meet your twin flame and all. That's what Deidre said.
I could dance and sing hallelujah for the next 15 minutes. Yes, totally, totally.
And there's change makers, sets of twin flames that will ignite that for everybody, or something like that. Deidre
watch what unfolds. Y'all are going to be so tickled pink. Oh,
we're going to be so surprised. I can't wait to be surprised.
Listen, we're in for a great time. You know how many
surprises I've given people all my life? I love to surprise. Surprise people. Come on, it's my turn. Come on.
You got it, girl. Back to you, Chris,
It's not
brother.
Stories, but every time you talk, Chris, or Cynthia, I can't think of that word, but I will. It's just a sweet savor in our essences. It helps a lot. A lot. And I'm not speaking for me. I'm speaking for the whole world. Okay?
Jubilation! Yay!
In the galactics.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, come back.
Okay.
And I wanted to... Sorry. I want to just... after you come back, Chris, I want to try to... with the show, I want to try to intermingle things so... the galactics are a being of people too. So I want to kind of make it, I want to try to, like we're engaging, like in a conversation, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we did at the first and with all of us or something.
Okay.
I'm just putting that out. I don't know how it'll go, but anyway, yeah, so we can get closer with the galactics even. We're building a relationship, you know what I mean? And we're to the point where we're used to them coming in and giving messages, but we want to make our relationship even more real, because it is really real and tangible. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that's all. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that's interesting how all those things coincided like that. That frequency that the Council of Saturn was operating on was very high, and that's the first I've had that kind of contact with them. I'd only just been made aware of them recently, and even though a lot of references to Saturn came up, it was like part of me was oblivious to their presence, and I believe that was by design until tonight. So this is interesting. But who is left here who wanted to speak tonight? are 3 that I did not expect to come through. There are 2 of them that are from Agartha, and 1 that is from the Moon facility. And
Chris, before I want to just call, if it's none of these beings, that the being that could come and update us on all the collect the news we brought forth at the beginning, just their aspect of, they can update us on that too. If it's not one of these 3, come on in too. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Let me see. Yeah, these 3. One of them has been on the show before. This is quite a very long time ago. He was on one of the Ra Speaks episodes. He goes by the name of Adam, and he's a doctor in the Darkfleet facility on the Moon. Now, I haven't conversed with these people in quite some time. We kind of had a disagreement quite a while back about how to do things, and so I haven't communicated with them in quite some time. So then these other 2 are his sisters, and they chose to be down in Agartha with a Bendigoth. So I'm going to see who wants to speak first. Okay, this is Adam that wants to speak, so I'm going to, I'll see if he wants to channel directly through me or if he just wants me to repeat what he's saying. Oh, okay. This should prove interesting. He wants to talk directly through me. Okay, all my guides are saying everything's fine, so... Okay. Here he goes. This is, even though he is human, he's still, he's outside of the illusion bubble. So this is the way he has to communicate. Okay, here he comes in. Oh, okay, this is very strong energy, stronger than I thought. I can actually see every thought he's having at the moment. And he's wanting to say, okay, here he is. Greetings. You know me as the doctor that performs procedures on the injured Darkfleet members on your backside of your moon. The falling out this one has mentioned thusly with Darkfleet is something that spans to what dear Deidre has just spoken of with these soul traps. The reason that Darkfleet has not acted in accordance with the agreement made with the Ra grouping is this. They too have been ensnared by this trap, or one of these traps. From what I can observe from my position and where I am sitting in an office, thusly speaking to you mentally, is this. These things can barely be perceived from a computer console. Only minds can perceive these. So, what I have postulated is this. The council of people that you are, we can focus on these group of people that have been unnecessarily trapped within these bubbles, as he would call them. These bubbles once ensnared parts of him, so therefore he must mend his relationship with these people, though they act outside of accordance with the oneness sometimes. This is the pre-programming that these bubbles have induced upon them along with their cabal counterparts. This is something he has not understood until now. He has just recognized faults with their actions. So, I will say this and point out that within the binary network that has been spoken about on this programming, which is also connected to these soul traps, I might add, there is a frequency that controls the minds of lesser frequencies. These lesser frequencies exist still within your third dimensional bandwidth. From what I can postulate, These particular frequencies will go and be rendered inert if these people reach high enough frequencies. Now, I'm not saying Dark Fleet soldiers will ever reach this, but this is something that can be done in order to ensure they can do so. There is on the moon, thusly, an antennae that is shaped very much like one of your church steeples. It is made of such a material that it is invisible to the human eye. It is pointing directly at the earth even as we speak, like an evil wand, as it were. So, I am saying this is the thing that must be focused on. Pictures of this particular antenna have been seen in old television broadcasts since the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Its image has been seen in these broadcasts, but people just do not know what it is. People think it was just representing TV and radio and the like. Quite the opposite, in fact. This antenna was seen in the black and white televisions as a symbol to their cabal counterparts. The resistance got wind of this at that time and attempted to deconstruct the Arconian binary network physically. This is when they became ensnared in it and slowly began to degrade over a period of time, though to this one he saw them slide quickly. This is not the case. He saw the gradual over time and was perceiving members of Dark Fleet within different points on the space-time continuum. They were not all from the present day. Some of the agents that he has seen were from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, some of which are from the present day, where they are fully engrossed in the perpetual back and forth, or the wash, rinse, and repeat cycle, as my dear mother would say. But in this instance, I will say this: focus on the base of this antenna, and it will weaken the signal. I am not saying that it will topple it, but implanted within this message inside the Arconian binary network can be placed anything, any thought of any sort can be placed within this, therefore setting free a multitude of its captors. I'm not saying it will free everything. This is not connected in such a way, even though it is all linked to all the satellites, even though they can all be chained together with light. This is not the point. This particular scattering field would have to be disseminated particle by particle by particle. However, if the people themselves recognize the existence of this network, then its hold over them will also begin to dematerialize and disseminate. So, in this instance, I will say, by focusing on this tower, you can also focus on someone that is very close to me. I have a spouse that is in Dark Fleet that is fully engrossed in this network. So, by focusing on her, you are focusing on the base of this tower. I am not saying this to be selfish, quite the opposite. I merely want her freed too, but I want everyone freed of this. Though turning the switch off here on the moon is simply not an option. We do not own the section that this antennae exists on. This would be the Nazi section of the moon. And per the Galactic Neutrality Accord, we cannot harm them, nor can we invade their section of the moon. It is their prerogative to do as they wish, unfortunately. And if we would move against them, it would be considered an act of aggression against the Neutrality Accord. So, that said, one person at a time can be freed from this binary influence. Then, by honoring the one, you will free them all. And these Nazis will eventually flip the switch themselves. What I am saying is what you all say: we are all connected. We are all one. So, I will show you my wife here, or show him. He's the one that can see her. And he sees her now, And okay, now it's me talking again. Yes, I can actually see her. If I had to judge a height, I would say about 5, 6, 7-ish. He's much taller. I would have to say about, I'd say he's probably 6'4". And and she has brown hair. She's in an outfit with the Dark Fleet Phoenix insignia. And I can see this fuzz that's around her head. What I mean by fuzz is it's kind of like a blurriness. And she also has some nanites around her as well, so I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm seeing this emblem that's on her chest. It's the Phoenix emblem. There's something within the article of clothing that is doing this as well. I don't think they intended for this to happen, but there is something that I can hear humming within the emblem. It is something that is relaying a signal out to this antenna, and this antenna is relaying it back to her. So I am going to just look real closely at this, and it looks to be some kind of machine that is circular in nature. It is a piece of geometry that is mechanical in nature. It's taking the form of a triangle now with the edges bent in, and it is spinning, and it's turning into all sorts of colors, and it is putting out a signal that is very disorienting, so I'm just going to hit it with the Law of One symbol.
And for the highest good of all,
yes.
Put a sticker on there, too. We're allowed in neutrality zone, right, to put a sticker there? Okay. A low one?
Yes, and I hit that Phoenix symbol, and I'm replacing it with the Law of One symbol. And I noticed this shadow that was over her face a moment ago is lifting. I'm still seeing things in a blurred way because of this binary network, but this signal that went back is tracing back along this. It broke her free from it, but it's going to the antenna. I can barely tolerate being around this antenna, but I can see that it is. I can see electricity around it, but it's not bouncing to the different satellites. It's actually starting to disrupt slightly. So apparently with freeing each person, this thing becomes weaker. So I'm going to go back to them. Okay, he wants to talk again. Yes, this is the secret to getting rid of elements of this binary network. This love that the two of us share, for instance, is something that freed her of their influence. But now I must take her to the area in which I work and disseminate and dissect this piece of technology and analyze it. Its true appearance is that of a golden octagon. This one would know its purpose within his own mind. This is something that was misused by the Dark Ones to create this binary network itself. So I will go back and analyze this piece of technology while my two sisters speak. Okay, now he's fading the image out. And these two are over here next to me. And they're with a Bendigoth. Okay, I figured that's who that was. Okay. And he's actually in front of them, but he's letting one of them come forward. Their two names are Chrissy and Angela. So I'll let one of them. They're going to speak one at a time, apparently. Okay. And he says they have a limited time to be here, so I'm going to. They'll have to be quick. So okay. This is Chrissy. Geez. Oh, she wants to talk through me. Okay. They all do this. Greetings. My name is Chrissy, and I currently live within the halls of the great Agarthan capital of Atlantis. I, like many others, help negotiate treaties amongst the different disagreeing extraterrestrials, as you say. But my story does not begin with that. It is merely my present. My past is wrought with complexities that every human on Earth is currently consumed by. My family, as it were, was destroyed by Cabal forces in the area you call the backstage. My life was sent askew until Abendigoth and his people found me at a moment of great crisis. I will not describe this crisis because it was long and involved. Just know that I and my sister and my brother were rescued by these forces. Dear Adam was rescued by Darkfleet because his purpose lied with them. My sister Angela and I were rescued by Abendigoth himself and his council. We now serve them and serve humanity at the center of your world, but this is not what we came to say. What I come to say involves people's present with discerning false memories from reality. What I mean by false memories is this: what went on in the backstage with the alien abduction will begin to surface in most people. They will not recognize it when these symptoms arise, so I will explain, at least in the time constraints that I have. When you have a memory of an event, be it good or bad, look more closely at it, the memory itself. Did you really experience what you experienced? Or is it a shadow of something that never was, or the never were? This is something that people fight on a daily basis and do not even realize that they do so. Their memories are not always as they seem. Say you have a happy childhood memory, or a sad childhood memory, that seems very, as it were, mundane, or plain, or ordinary. This could be as it is, or this could be something else. The way this is discerned is by intuition and instinct alone. This is how you feel it out. It will feel as if it is something intrusive versus something natural. This is not something that can be explained, but only felt. This is something that I came to warn about in the coming of these new energies, these old and forgotten memories, and not so old memories, will begin to surface. They will surface as nightmares, but they will also surface in happier times. There are happier times in the backstage area, happy times of love being blossomed, and happier times of two people of like breath running through the fields along the riverbeds of the place where we were born. These grassy knolls, hills, mountains, and waters are where we hold our paradise. But I digress. That was a happier time before all the chaotic things happened. These are the things that will win the day. These happier visualizations will win the day over the negative ones. This is not to say, not to confront the negative ones when they come. You look at a negative memory that is surfacing, and you see it for what it is, a memory. Then, as this one would say, roll with the punches and move on and live in the present day. Not to say that that past is not important. It is quite important. We were just saying, my sister and I, that it is not easy to overcome. So we are just saying again, roll with the punches and exist in your present moment. Now briefly, my sister Angela will speak, and then we must depart. We are on a very strict time constraint because the Agarthans have us doing other important work. So this is Angela that will speak next. And now she is here. And okay, she wants to get it right away. Yeah. Greetings. My name is Angela. I have the same misappropriated past as some would say as my sister Chrissy and brother Adam. But I will reiterate what my sister has just said. These memories are something that need to be confronted for what they are and not for what they are not. Even if you choose, they say, a false positive over a real negative, that is what you must do. Then roll with the negative memory, put light towards it, confront it for what it is, and move past it. This is how the day is won against this binary network and various other things that he here is not currently aware. But though I must go now, I will say this. To honor what has happened in your past, remember the happiness, as she has just said. Spread that loving energy throughout your consciousness and conscious mind, and even the harnessed memories that hide in the shadows of your mind. Put light towards them. They will begin to surface in a much more controlled way. And they will one day not be the forgotten past, but the remembered of positive and negative. But remember, in spite of what you begin to remember, there is light and positivity and love in all things and in all creation, no matter what has happened to you. Thank you.
Well, there's another thing Cynthia's been talking about. The energy's coming in. We're starting remembering past lives, past memories. So that was a good encouragement tool to use. Thanks, Chris and girls. Thank you, girls.
Yeah, and I can see them all walking off now, and Abendigoth is actually leading them off. He allowed that for that brief moment, but hopefully he allows that again at some future date. And he's shaking his head yes. So
well, we thank you that we're honored for you to honor ones to come there for the brief moment. So that's an honor for us. Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
And it looks like, I'm trying to see who is there. No, it looks like everybody's starting to clear out. So it looks like.
Oh, come on, you guys! We need somebody. We don't need you, but we love you, and we just want to see a different perspective of what's going on in the world. We brought in our news at the beginning. Is there anything you want to add so we can just have a balance and a broader perspective of what's going on in the world?
Okay, there were some things, like with the finances and everything. I know what came through for me was I was reminded of a channeling that I got many months ago about the changing over of currency, and it had to do with how they use things on the moon, for instance. I saw the type of currency they use up there, and it's based on resources. It's not based on how we have paper money. These things, they look almost, I kind of akin to them to poker chips.
Yeah.
Because they are different colors, and the colors represent different resources, and they have different symbols on them that represent different resources, and they trade these. I mean, 4 things up there on the moon, but they have to be backed by something. They can't be backed by, air. They have to be backed by like land, food, technology, something. They have to be backed by something in trade. Like, say you have a red chip that represents, let's say, technology, or blue or green that represents food or something, or yellow that represents something. They have to, whoever gives those chips will honor something they have, like, say, already in a cargo hold. Like, say you have, say, an alien trader, for instance, and you see a lot of these things like on some of the sci-fi shows out there. You have, say, a cargo ship captain that has X amount of things in the cargo hold, and they use that as a bargaining tool to gain other things they do not possess, like say if they have technology and they want to trade for food resources, or they want to actually purchase land somewhere, or if they want to gain some other resource, they would drop down, say, a couple of these other chips, and they would say, I got this in my cargo hold, you can come look at it if you want, but this is what I am promising to give to you in exchange for this other resource that I am wanting. And that's how they basically, it's a barter system, but it's based also on money as well. And it's a much simpler system where things are actually backed by things, and there is not a bunch of nefarious junk going on in the background. And it's much simpler. And I've been told that's the way it's eventually going to change too.
And we had a show on that, and the Galactics came in and explained that in detail. So for right now, I mean, we used to be backed by gold and silver here on Earth, but we're not now because we're the Federal Reserve Bank. So to me, the first most logical process would maybe go back and get off the Federal Reserve Bank and go back to gold and silver. And then, let's just review, Chris, what you remember, the Galactics, what they brought in. Remember we talked about General Dunford, and didn't they say that's quite not that way, or what do you remember from that? And then maybe we can get Tyler or somebody to come in and give us some intel. I do remember one of the first things is when we see a ship broken in the waters and the ET ship is out of we see it, and there's a protest going on. That'd be close to the financial reset. What other things do you remember?
All I remember is I know time has a tendency to change quite a bit, but the one constant, a couple of the constants that have actually kind of remained. Now I know not everything is set in stone. That's what they always reiterate to me. But the thing with the currency seems to be something that is pretty solid.
And then they said that there will be no elections this year, right? They said that a couple times.
Yeah, and I believe they were referring to also this. I could be wrong on this one, but I believe that they were referring to the fact that we've never had a real election. It's always been It's always been rigged in some way. But I also believe they were referring to the other, where there wouldn't be like a real standing president, even if somebody were quote unquote elected. I don't believe it would be real. I believe it would be one of those scripted things.
Yeah. Okay, guys, so we're relationshiping with you, and I know you can see from a higher perspective, and there's lots of changes going on, and no matter what the detail is, it's all good changes for our highest good for all. Can somebody come in and just, give us your take on what's going on and from what the news that we brought and whatever?
Let's see.
Anybody?
No, I'm not really getting anybody so far. Looks like they've all vacated for the night.
Well, it looks like they're going to keep us in suspense, but surprises are good. I mean, my point is, I don't know, does anybody want to get in on this discussion? Chris and Cynthia, Candy, I heard Candy, Marianne. I mean, it's okay. God is in the details. Okay, here's my question, you guys. Cynthia, Chris, Candy. We know there's good changes gone. We got to have faith. We got to take that leap of faith. Does it really matter how it's going to change? Should we keep looking at that? What's it doing for us to keep looking at the detail? And because I'm like that too. I want to be on top of it. Does it matter for us to look at that detail, or what? I mean, At this point, we still don't know if a lot of it. We do. The Galactics said a lot of it is, just to confuse us and all that. But is it doing us any good, or what else would we talk about? You know what I mean? I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Somebody, you guys chime in. Chris, anybody?
Well, I'll say this. When I was studying with my different shamanic teachers, and they were the real deal, and I experienced stuff that anybody in their right mind would say couldn't possibly be real. What they emphasized over and over and over and over and over again is that you focus on the end result. The function that we as human beings have is to have an intention and visualize the end result. But absolutely, and I cannot emphasize this enough, it's a life and death situation according to them, and I agree with them, but you have to go through certain experiences to give it reality. Don't worry about how. Our function is to worry about what. Our job is to worry about the end result that we want, not how it's going to happen. No, not how. They said if you start worrying about how something is going to happen, you have a miscarriage of the magic. But they said what you do is you visualize the end result that you want. Say you need to walk on water. You visualize yourself getting to the other side. Say you want a whole world to go into supreme happiness. You visualize a whole world in supreme happiness. But don't even for 1 second even think about how is this going to happen. What they said is that the how is already taken care of. They said the how, quote unquote, has evolved over millions and millions and millions of years, and that it's just built into the system, and that the way you operate the system is to give it a hologram of what it is to do, and the how will simply unfold automatically.
And us on Earth are in.
And I'd like to give a try on that hologram.
And us, let me just finish this point. Us on Earth is we're emotional beings, so we would think of the end result, supreme happiness, and feel that joy in that. And I have another question when you're done and Candy's done. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think of course, like Anastasia says, visualize the details. I would like to visualize that we do have the year of Jubilee, where all debts are forgiven on our mortgages and our credit cards and our cars, and this will bring happiness. We know that the major cause of divorce is money issues, and when these money issues dissolve, I mean, there's going to be so much more happiness among couples and families, and there's a report out that Obama just forgave $7.7 billion worth of student loans. Whether it's already happened or we should just focus on the end result of the happiness with the student loans disappearing, and just that our building supplies are stronger, that our houses can be constructed easier, that our houses are more comfortable, that our furniture is more comfortable, that when we buy things, they've been produced and manufactured so that they do what they're supposed to do, and repairs and buildings and all can go smoothly, that cars, that transportation is smooth for people, and that families can come together because transportation is going to be easier, and it's just there's going to be so much joy and pride in our new republic leaders, and for their brilliance, and for them listening to the people, and that things like the federal minimum wage jumps to $15 right away, and that rents are lowered because property taxes and school taxes are lowered, and just all these beautiful details like Anastasia, I don't want to limit anything and worry about how these things happen, but these are some of the details, that I would like to ask Valiant Thor to keep on putting out there. And yes, it's going to be exciting when we have currency that's backed by the first resource of gold, and then later on some of these others. And yes, I think that red, blue, yellow, green chips are going to be great.
Well, good examples of looking at the end result. But let me go back really quick. Okay. So what makes us, because there's so many conference calls, and I was in there, we grow out of different things or whatever. Okay, so what makes us want to be like mystery buffs? Like we want to know, we're excited. We want to because there's changes, and I guess we're wheeling up our excitement and our happiness if we fall in the detail. But what makes us want to be mystery buffs? What makes us want to find the details? Is that a programming?
It's okay. The fascination of the little child with the butterfly as it flits from flower to flower, the fascination of us as we see the drama. Drama is playing a big role right now astrologically. And as we see the drama of what we are visualizing and wanting unfold, the key is not to worry about how. In other words, it's fine as you're walking across the water or whatever it is you're doing to be fascinated. Wow, we're walking across the water. Oh, we're 1/4 of the way through. Oh, we're halfway through. Oh, there's 6 of us, 3 of us, 2 of us. Oh, that's beautiful. The key is through the whole process to keep the what as a job. Your job is to see the what. What is it? As Candy was saying, I see the what as transportation becoming easier. I see the what as families coming closer together. I see the what as student loans being forgiven. That's perfect. But and if you want to see the progress of that unfolding, that's okay. But don't worry about it. Don't worry about the how. You can watch it unfold, but keep the eye single. The Bible says, if the eye is single, the body shall be filled with light. Keep your eyes singly focused on the what. In other words, if you study Zen archery, if you study the martial art of Zen archery, you visualize the arrow already in the middle of the target, and the body will automatically pull the string just right. The body will. They actually do it blindfolded. I kid you not. The great masters, they will visualize their arrow. Not only do they do it blindfolded, mind you, no. They actually spin around blindfolded. Jeez. And all they're doing is visualizing the arrow already being in the middle of the target. And their body will spin it around. They will pull the arrow back. They will let it go blindfolded. And it will hit the mark. Because the job is to visualize it in the middle of the target, and the rest of it, when to let it go, how strong to let it go, the exact direction it goes on is automatic once that what is focused on strongly. So the what is supreme happiness, the what is abundance, the what is enlightenment, the what is harmony, the what is beauty, the what, whatever it is that your inner guidance says the what should be, you intend it, you visualize it, you hold on to it like a pit bull. You don't let go. And when the little monkey mind comes up and says, well, how is that going to happen? How is that going to happen? You say, thank you for sharing. Go sit in the corner. We'll discuss it after the fact. I know what I'm doing. I'm visualizing the what, and divine providence will take care of the how.
Beautiful. Okay, I want to hear Chris. Any comments on Chris and Marianne and Mare?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah. Candy told me she was just cut off for a few times. So, okay, let me see. Give me a second. Okay. What I was about to say was that, yeah, I agree. You know, what you do is the how you can delegate, like what the Garthans say. But I also agree with both philosophies. Some people are more detail oriented. Some people want to cast that off and let the universe take hold of it. Now, what the Galactics say, to honor the oneness is you honor choice. If people want to go with the nitty-gritty of the details, that's their decision to make, and that works. You know, but also if people want to delegate it, then that works as well. Now, there's nothing wrong, like Valiant Thor would say, there's nothing wrong with telling the details. He's told the details many times of the how, but he's also said leave certain things to them as well. And he's also asked that people officially request that certain details are left to them, even though it's okay to know about them. There's nothing wrong with knowing about them. Just don't dwell in them and don't let them consume you like a cancer would. You know, you can know the how, but don't let it just completely envelop you to where you're not living in the moment and you're living for the future. So that's how I see it. There's nothing wrong with knowing any of it, just as long as it doesn't consume you. Now, I don't see any more beings here tonight. Looks like they've all vacated, but yeah, if Tyler and Valiant Thor were here, they would, like I said, they would explain details, but they would also say, don't dwell in it. There's nothing wrong with, say, reading a text on certain details, you know, and certain hows and certain whys. But if it's consumed too much, like with anything in excess, it's going to be bad. So I say, you know, we have maybe even have another show or something on this subject, and see if Valiant Thor and Tyler do come in, and maybe possibly do a July show before I leave. You know, since I've freed up my schedule for reads in July because of the move. I could possibly do it then, either on this show or Candy's show.
Yeah,
I could possibly do it.
Cool, nice comments and thoughts. Does Marianne or Mare have any thoughts? Oh,
I have a question, Christopher.
Yeah.
That was Marianne.
Go ahead, Mare.
Did Adam's wife...
Off the speakerphone, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Did Adam's wife, our soulmate, was she free, or what ended up happening? Is she okay?
Oh, yeah. From what I saw, I kept seeing this thing that was in the chest cavity that was like a mechanical device. It was very fuzzy, but it was encompassing the insignia and the uniform. It looked like something in the uniform was causing this. Like when they put on the uniform, they automatically agreed to some kind of device taking control of them.
Okay, but you had kind of freed her of that, didn't you?
Oh, yes, she was freed of it, but I noticed her energy level dropped very quickly. So what happened was he just grabbed her, and that's why he cut off the communication immediately, so he could run in there. But because he was near a medical bay to begin with. But this is why he always explained to me in the past why his wife was always so staunchly an advocate for, you know, fighting and fighting the cabal, and you know, she was focused on that anger portion. And now I know why. There was a device forcing the issue. Now that that's gone, she can be free of it.
Oh, that's so great. That's wonderful. I just wanted to know that. Thank you. Go ahead, Marianne.
Right now I'm in some sense a different place, and I agree with the visualization and everything that's been said. I just came off a conference call before I got on. That's why I was late. of the Angel Academy with Matt Kahn, and we were just talking about the emptiness. So right now I'm in a different place. So that's all I'm going to say right now.
Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody, and we have a little taste of everything what they all just explained on the show. We got the candy shop news and Chris and our galactics and Cynthia and her galactics and the astrology, the energy. It's a really awesome mix. Really liking it. Okay, so you guys, Cynthia, is there any questions or comments from the audience? Just *6, and then maybe we'll let Cynthia say what she wants to say about the energies here coming, or here that are here. Okay, go ahead, Cynthia, and then you guys can come in if you want.
Yeah, I just want to say that what Chris said is absolutely right. I think with the third strand of DNA that's coming up is that we, instead of going from one side of a polarity to the other, back and forth, that the third strand is the type of awareness that embraces both sides, as he was saying, where you can see the viewpoint of the shaman that are saying just visualize the desired result and the how will unfold. For example, if you want to pick up a glass, you don't have to know how the desire to pick up the glass works, all the muscles and the nerves and the firing and this and that. That's true. But also, as he said, that the other side, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to learn how an intent works through the nervous system, how it fires the nerves, how the muscles react, how the hand actually grasps the glass to come up, that is not only possible, but even in many cases desirable. And the third strand of DNA can look at both sides with equal love, with equal respect and reverence, and bring them into balance. It's a balancing act between hot and cold, between up and down, between in and out, between sleeping and waking, between big and small, between now and then. It's always honoring and being grateful for the polarities of whatever kind they may be, and understanding they both are necessary, and that it's the balancing of those polarities that's important, not any kind of a choice between the two.
Well, I think we kind of did that on the show tonight in an energy form. That kind of, what you just described, that energy came out of diamonds tonight. That's beautiful. Yes. And what everybody described. Wow. And then Chris has an announcement after, well, I don't know. Should we do that now? And Cynthia, I want you to just say what you want to for the energies here. Give us a little update, huh? Chris, come on. Come on. Okay. Oh, and by the way, Monday shows are going to be really good in July, so surprises abound on Mondays. Go ahead, Chris.
Okay. This Wednesday, this week at night, I will be on the Candy Shop show. So that's what I wanted to announce.
And I'm going to come there too, okay? Is that okay, Candy and Chris?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Wednesday, Chris will be there with Candy. All right, yay. Okay. Cynthia, you back?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, now let's catch us up on what we can work with the energies this week.
I would just say categorically and undeniably use the law of one for everything. If stuff is coming up for you internally, if it's your past, if it's your present, if it's your concerns about the future, just go limp and relax, surrender, and just say, look, whatever it is, whatever it isn't, whether I understand it, whether I don't understand it, whether I can see it, whether I can't see it, I'm simply asking that the highest good of all happen. I think that's the best advice I can give. Otherwise, we get into all this judgment, we get into all this worry, we get into all this analysis, and I believe that the true currency of the universe, when everything is said and done, is our attention. There's an old saying that where the attention goes, the energy flows. Where we put our attention is of supreme importance.
That's one of the things I'm intuitioning with the holes in the money bags. No matter what you try to say, the holes in the money bag, is that the universe is trying to show us that we are the currency. It's helping us change too. Yeah, for example. Yeah.
So I would just say, if you're having a good day, fine. If you're having a bad day, fine. What to do? If you're having a good day, just give thanks. Ask for the highest good of all. If you're having a bad day, give thanks and ask for the highest good of all. That sets up a field of non-resistance, and the truth is going to come out. And I believe the truth is that we are all God, that God is love, that God is one, that God manifests in infinite varieties, and that the more we can relax and breathe, which I think doing the law of one allows us to do, that like a woman giving birth, the natural forces will get that baby out in a more happy way than if we're all tense, all worried, having to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Just relax. If you're having a bad day, relax. Ask for the highest good of all. If you're having a good day, relax. Ask for the highest good of all. Relax, 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 relax. Relax, 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 relax. Have an intention for the highest good of all. If you understand it, fine. If you don't understand it, fine. Ask for the highest good of all. That's my parting shot.
Thank you, Cynthia. Anybody else have any comments from the audience and moderators? Just *6. And great show, guys.
Yes, hi, Sunny.
And
I really appreciate everything that was shared, and what Cynthia, what you were saying about focus on the end result and relax. That confirms what I really want to do. And in the past week, I've been experiencing some light energy, some good light energy, and also some struggle energy with my body stuff. So I go, well, so what about my body stuff? What do I do about it? This is what I struggle with. And so with what you said, Cynthia, about focusing on the end result means focusing on the kind of body that, how I'd like to feel in my body. I guess anybody would want to do this who has problems with their bodies or on whatever level. In this kind of visualize and feel what it would feel like to just have a pain-free, light feeling in the body and all that kind of thing, and not have to be concerned about these problems. So, rather than going, well, what should I do? What kind of practitioner or doctor or thing or diet or, what should I do? That's kind of what I've been dealing with. And I do really like what Chris shared, and I just appreciate everything that was shared tonight. So
visualize yourself young and immortal.
Mm-hmm.
Young and immortal physically, with perfect organs, perfect bones, perfect skin, perfect eyes, perfect systems. Visualize yourself young and immortal emotionally, filled with joy, filled with happiness, healthy and well. Visualize yourself young and immortal mentally, ever young, ever beautiful, ever perfect, and spiritually. And let that be the end result.
Well, that's what I love to do. That's what
will and continue to do. Thank you, Cynthia. Because sometimes I really do have that perception of that's who and what I really am in my pure essence. and it's like the skin, the old symptoms just peel back and see them peeling off like an old skin, And so thank you very much, Cynthia and everybody. Continue on.
Thank you. Anybody else? Star 6. Okay. Well, you guys is there somebody there? Did I hear somebody? I heard a little.
Well, it might have been me.
Oh.
Okay.
All right. Well, everybody shine like diamonds, even brighter. Kick it up a notch this week, and we'll see you tomorrow for Voices from the Alternative World, 7:30 Central, and then Wednesday and Thursday. And Wednesday is an hour later. Remember, 8:30 Central.
The focus tomorrow will be on health and healing, which is appropriate. So
yes,
you can all know that.
And Misty's show will probably be on health and healing too on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So I love you. Oh, it's just been very nice to have you back, Chris, and Cynthia, always. Cynthia, Marianne, Candy, everybody, all you guys, just everybody. Give you a big hug. Love you all. Talk to you soon.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Love you guys.
Are you looking for healing or a change in your life to help you enjoy it more fully? You might benefit from a galactic energy reading and clearing from Chris Jacobs. Chris will work with you on a soul level to clear unseen negative influences, implants, programs, contracts, and energetic blocks. Chris Jacobs is a gifted energy healer. Contact him today at ChristopherStephenJacobs@gmail.com.